Welcome back to Crafts with Louisa. Today we're picking back up where we left off. So we are learning about a man named Saul, but he actually has two names. So he starts off as Saul and then he converts his name into Paul, and today we are going to learn why. So Saul was kind of a mean man. He hated Christians. He didn't like people who told others about Jesus, and he actually killed Christians because that's how much he didn't like them. But one day he was walking along the road and a bright light shone in his eyes, and he paused and he stopped and he heard a voice talking to him saying, "What are you doing?" And he knew that it was the Lord, and God took hold of Paul's heart and converted him. So Paul was blinded by the light, and God said, "Saul, go and find a man named Ananias and he will heal your eyes." So Saul was killing people who loved Jesus, and now God was showing him that he was going to use Saul to teach more people about Jesus. And we'll learn later that Saul was turned into Paul, and Paul wrote a lot of the books in the Bible, and he told many people about Jesus and told them all about God's love for us. So he became a very powerful man and used his power to tell others about God. So in our craft today, I'm going to make something that will remind us about Saul turning into Paul, but more importantly about our special mission that God gives all of us as Christians to tell others about him. So let me show you the supplies I'll need. So to make this craft today, I have a couple of things. I have a picture that I printed out of a man with no face, and I'll show you why he has no face in a second. And then a couple of pieces of paper to go along with it, some pencil crayons and scissors and glue, and we are gonna make a fun craft today that will help remind us about God's power and our mission to tell others about him. So watch this. Okay, so I finished my craft for today, and what I have made is Saul turning into Paul, so I can slide his little eyes through. As you can see, these are like his angry eyes. When he was Saul, he hated Christians, and he was even killing Christians, but the Lord confronted him on the road. He stopped him, and Paul was blinded. And then he went to Ananias, and Ananias told him to preach the good news, tell everybody about God. And God converted Saul into Paul, and now he's excited to share this good news. It wasn't always easy for Paul. He even got into trouble, and people wanted to hurt Paul himself for preaching the good news, for telling others about Jesus. And some people didn't even believe that Paul loved Jesus because he used to be so mean. They were scared of him. They didn't want to hear about Jesus from Saul because he was so mean. But now we can see that God used even the meanest man, Saul, to tell others about him, to get his message across. See you next time.